Yeah.
A Charles County man is outraged after he placed a drive-thru order at Chick-Fil-A, and he says a worker printed a racist name on the label.
Our Amy Cho has that story you will only see here on News 4.
When Marquise got his food from the La Plata Chick-fil-A drive-thru last Friday, he was shocked to see this printed on the label, the word monkeys instead of his name.
It was devastating because it just set me back, years. As a black male, we've gone through a lot, and it just it's a constant reminder. Just when you think you're healing from a situation, someone opens that wound back up.
Vanzago says he went inside to complain, and a manager and the store owner later apologized to him. Vanzago says the owner told him he wouldn't fire the employee involved because the employee was a minor and said he'd misheard the name. Vanzago says he placed the order face-to-face, not through a microphone, because the worker was standing outside in the drive-thru line.
I think that it could have been handled a lot differently. I definitely think that the employee should have been terminated on the spot. It's unfortunate that he might end up losing his job, but that happens. He needs to learn from this.
And Vanzago tells me he used to be a regular here at this Chick-fil-A, often coming several times a week. News 4 reached out to the company for a response.
They sent a statement saying this Chick-fil-A is independently franchised and operated. The franchisee of this restaurant has apologized to the guest. However, this experience does not meet our expectations and is unacceptable. Vanzago says he's hired an attorney and he's considering filing a federal lawsuit against Chick-fil-A for discrimination.
I won't be going back to that Chick-fil-A any longer. Racism is still alive.
News 4 also called the La Plata Chick-fil-A. A worker who answered the phone said they had no further comment. Amy Cho, News 4.
I can't begin to tell you how commonplace stuff like this is. It's just been a while since I've actually done a story about this. And I actually did hear about this. I think Cedric Hito was the first person I saw actually talk about this, but I had no idea that it happened in Charles County and in La Plata. Now, of course, y'all already know where I'm from. And I'm familiar with Charles County because I've been to Charles County before. I've been to La Plata, but I don't go out there often because it's so freaking far away. Like, it's like a damn near an hour drive. If you also throw in the traffic, it adds on more time. But the furthest I go out to Charles County, for the most part, if I have to go out there, is to Waldorf, which is like the city that's slightly ahead of La Plata. So I'm not surprised that this indeed happened. Now, like they said, the man's name is Marquise. His name is Marquise Vanzago. But they printed up monkeys on the receipt. How do you get monkeys out of Marquise? And like he said, when he was talking to the person taking his order, they weren't talking through the voice box. Because sometimes when you go through a fast food line, if it's during a busy time, they'll have someone outside with an iPad or some kind of a tablet taking your order. So the person that they're talking to, like he said, is face to face. That's typically commonplace when it's real busy, especially during like maybe the lunch hour. That's typically when business is ramped up. And sometimes if you're going to a place that's open early in the mornings, in the morning time is when they're busy, but they typically don't have a lot of people out there standing with the iPad in the morning. It's usually during the lunchtime. So if he told this person his order to their face and they asked for a name and he said Marquise, I don't know how they got monkeys out of that. I really don't get it. And like I said, this is not uncommon because we've seen this several times before where people have printed up slurs, and I'm talking about worse than monkeys, on receipts before, like the N-word or that black person or whatever they wanted to put up there. That wasn't the person's name, because I don't know anybody that would go around and who's black and say, oh, my name is Monkey, or my name is N-word, or my name is that black person or that black person. They're going to give them their actual name or maybe an initial, because a lot of the times if I go and I was to get something, I usually just give them my initials. That's typically what I like to do, and a lot of times I'll just order my stuff online anyway. But yeah, this person, whoever did this, knew exactly what they was doing. And I think the thing that also pissed me off, and I'm sure it probably pissed him off too, was when they were talking about who issued the apology. They said the person who is the owner of that franchise, because they said it was independently owned, they said they were the one that came out and issued the apology. Why is the person who is the franchise owner, who wasn't even there, who didn't do this, giving out the apology? Why isn't the worker made to give an apology? They were the ones that put the name in there and wrote that in, because they had to type the name in order for it to be printed out on the receipt. When he told them the name, they had to type the name. So they actually typed Monkeys and not the spelling of this man's name. So the person who's apologizing shouldn't be apologizing if they're doing it on the behalf. I don't like when they do that. It should come from the person that actually did it, because when the person that did it doesn't do it, it pushes them to the side for them to not have any accountability for their actions. And that's another thing that we have seen multiple times. Now, it says that this man has taken out a federal lawsuit against this particular Chick-Fil-A. I guess we'll have to see how far it indeed goes. The best thing that he said that he'll not do is continue going there. He said that from this day forward, from the time that this happened, that he will not be attending or going to that particular Chick-fil-A anymore. So that's the best thing he could do, because it would have been crazy if he decided to keep going after what he had to deal with. But yeah, I'm not surprised by this in any measure. I'm not even surprised it happened in my state. People think that this is something that could typically only happen in the South. If y'all remember, there was an incident involving somebody who had a receipt situation, and it happened in New Jersey. This was a few years ago. So some of y'all may or may not remember. If I have any subscribers who live in Jersey who was listening to this, probably heard about it. But there was a situation where someone had wrote a slur or someone's name. No, they tried to set this couple up. They tried to set this black couple up to try to say they were homophobic, instead of they called their waiter or their waitress a homophobic slur, and they tried to set them up. But then it came out the person turned out they were lying. So you gotta like really pay attention, because they'll even pull that crap too. But yeah, we'll see. You know how far this goes. I don't know how far it'll go. If this guy manages to have his lawsuit go all the way, go the distance, then kudos to him. If not, then he'll have to find another method to actually deal with this situation. And I also thought it was very interesting too, because when they called the next day after this happened, or after this made the news, they called that particular Chick-fil-A, and they said a worker answered the phone. It wasn't the person who did it. They probably, I don't know, maybe they told him to take the day off or whatever the case may be. They said they have no comment. Of course they have no comment. They probably told him, look, they probably told him in a team meeting, look, we're probably going to get some calls today about what happened. Do not answer any of the calls. But I think it's also interesting too, is that we don't know the name of the worker who did it. Now, Marquise said so it was a male who did it. But we don't know their name. And as of right now, they haven't been reprimanded, as in fired, because that's what he said he wanted to happen to them. He said that he wanted this person to be fired, but right now it sounds to me like this person has not been fired. It sounds to me like they might still be working there. And because we don't know what they look like and we don't know their name, it's people that's still going to go to that Chick-fil-A and probably have had encounters with this guy. As a matter of fact, I'm almost certain that they did, because that means somebody had to come into that drive-thru behind him. So they had to deal with him. So we'll see. I won't hold my breath, but we shall see what happens.